A king wakes up in the dark. The heavy linen sheets of Babylon are tangled around his legs. Who actually controls the timeline of human history? To find the answer, you have to start with the shattered pieces of a statue. The centuries tick down. The 483 years run out. A rabbi rides down the Mount of Olives. The crowd strips off their cloaks. They throw palm branches onto the dirt. The air smells like crushed leaves and sweat and desperate hope. They shout for a king. They expect a crown. They demand an army to crush the Roman beast. But Gabriel did not promise an immediate crown. He told Daniel exactly what would happen after the 69 weeks were finished. Daniel chapter 9, verse 26. The Messiah shall be cut off and have nothing. The Hebrew verb is karath. It means to violently sever, to chop down, to amputate. It is the action of a butcher's knife or an executioner's blade. The math points to a royal arrival. The text points to a slaughter. The rough wood splinters against a torn, bleeding back. An iron mallet strikes a nail. The vibration echoes off the limestone walls of Golgotha. The sky turns pitch black at 3 in the afternoon. The lungs fail. The Messiah is cut off. He has nothing. Most people assume the execution of Jesus was the moment the kingdom failed. They assume human rebellion derailed the prophetic plan. The cross is not an interruption to the timeline. It is the mathematical bullseye. The Anointed One is struck down exactly when the clock said he would be. And then, Gabriel's prophecy takes a chilling turn. The king demands his advisors tell him not just what his dream meant, but what the dream actually was. The angel says that the city and the sanctuary will be destroyed by the people of a coming prince. A flood of war and desolations are decreed. 40 years after the cross, the Roman 10th Legion surrounds Jerusalem. The temple catches fire. The gold melts into the cracks of the pavement. The stones are pried apart, one by one. The blood flows so deep it extinguishes the flames on the altar. The city is flattened. 69 weeks are finished. The Anointed One is dead. The sanctuary is gone. But the original prophecy was for 70 weeks. There is a missing week. 7 final years. A prophetic pause button is pushed, suspending the final countdown over the earth like a sword hanging by a single thread. The clock is waiting, but while the clock is paused, Daniel is pulled back into the timeline of the beasts. And this time, he is shown a detail that changes how you view every human conflict on earth. Daniel is standing on the bank of a canal in western Persia. The heavy, iron-toothed monsters of the sea are gone, replaced by something much more recognizable to an ancient farmer. A ram with 2 uneven horns stands by the water, pushing west, north, and south. No animal can stand before it. This is the Medo-Persian Empire. Heavy, wealthy, and seemingly unstoppable. But then, a male goat with a single, massive horn. If they fail, they will be torn limb from limb. The executioners are already sharpening their blades in the courtyard, and between its eyes crosses the surface of the earth so fast its feet do not even touch the dirt. It smashes into the ram in a fit of absolute rage, shattering both of its horns and trampling it into the ground. The dust rises from the catastrophic collision. History tells us exactly who this is. The goat is the Empire of Greece, and the prominent horn is Alexander the Great, sprinting across the ancient map and conquering the known world before he turned 33. But Alexander dies young, and the great horn is violently broken. 4 lesser horns grow up in its place. These are his 4 generals, dividing the massive geographic carcass of his kingdom among themselves. And out of one of those 4 divisions, pointing toward the beautiful land of Israel, emerges a single, insidious little horn. His name was Antiochus IV Epiphanes. In the 2nd century BC, he marches his armies into Jerusalem. He does not just conquer the city politically, he defiles its absolute core. He slaughters a pig on the sacred bronze altar. The smell of roasting, unclean flesh fills the temple courts. He outlaws the Sabbath. He butchers anyone circumcising their children. He burns every Torah scroll his soldiers can find and sets up a statue of Zeus in the Holy of Holies. Daniel is watching this horrific future unfold in his vision, watching the sanctuary be trampled. And he hears two holy ones speaking in the distance. One asks how long this devastation will be, and then a Jewish captive steps forward into the throne room. The marble floor is cold under his sandals, allowed to continue. Gabriel approaches the terrified prophet to explain, and he uses a very specific word to anchor the chaos. He says, "Understand, O Son of Man, that the vision refers to the time of the end, for it pertains to the appointed time." The Hebrew word Gabriel uses is mood. It is the exact same word used in the first chapter of Genesis for the cycles of the sun and the moon. It is the exact same word used in Leviticus for the sacred, immovable religious festivals. Its root means a fixed, predetermined appointment on a calendar. The slaughter under Antiochus feels entirely unchecked. The rise and fall of the goat and the ram feel like the chaotic collision of human egos. But Gabriel's vocabulary changes the entire landscape. The rise of the beasts is not a random accident of history. It is a scheduled event moving toward a fixed expiration date. God is not nervously watching the military campaigns of human dictators. He has already circled the exact day their power will be broken. Antiochus is a historical terror, but he is merely acting out a pattern that originates somewhere else entirely. Because what is happening on the Recolivus, blood-soaked soil of the earth, is only a shadow of the war happening just out of sight. Daniel is an old man now. He stands by the banks of the great river Tigris. The water rushes past, heavy and dark. Daniel does not guess. He does not offer a psychological evaluation. He describes a colossal human image standing in a desert. For 21 days, no meat or wine has touched his lips. His stomach aches with a dull, hollow burn. He is mourning. He has been praying for his people, begging for an answer, staring up at a sky that feels completely made of iron. Silence. 21 days of deafening silence. Most people assume that when heaven is silent, God is ignoring them. But the silence is not absence. It is a battlefield. On the 24th day, the air shatters. A man appears, dressed in linen, wearing a belt of pure gold. His body shines like a beryl stone. His face flashes like lightning. His eyes are torches of fire. His arms and legs gleam like polished bronze. And when he speaks, the sound of his voice is not a whisper. It is the roar of a massive, chaotic crowd. Daniel collapses. His face presses hard into the cold dirt. The breath is completely knocked out of his lungs. A hand touches his shoulder. The angel pulls him onto his trembling hands and knees. And then, the angel pulls back the curtain on the entire fabric of reality. The angel says, "From the first day that you set your heart to understand, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words. The head is pure, blinding gold, catching the sunlight. The chest and arms are heavy silver." But he was delayed for 3 weeks, while Daniel was starving, while his knees bruised the ground, and he thought his prayers were hitting a ceiling. The angel was fighting. He was not delayed by physical distance. He was delayed by cosmic war. The angel tells the frail prophet that the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood him for 21 straight days. It took Michael, one of the chief celestial princes, arriving on the battlefield to finally break the deadlock. The earthly kings sit on their thrones and think they are running the world. A Persian king signs a parchment decree. A Greek general marches his heavy infantry. A Roman governor orders an execution on a wooden cross. They think their military strategy and their iron weapons are shifting the borders of human history. They look down at the physical dust rising from their chariots and think they are in control. But they cannot see the sky. They cannot see the celestial princes clashing in the unseen realm. They cannot see the ancient, spiritual forces of darkness, wrestling over the literal geography of the earth. The war is not just happening on the dirt, it is happening in the air. The belly and thighs are polished bronze. The legs are pillars of solid iron. and the feet are a fragile, unstable mixture. The beast of Babylon is backed by a prince in the shadows. The ram of Persia is manipulated by a power you cannot stab with a sword. The earthly conflict is nothing but the visible shadow of an invisible war. Every delay, every unanswered prayer, every moment where the timeline feels entirely abandoned by God. It is not abandonment, it is active. Violent resistance. The angel finishes his message. He touches Daniel's lips, giving him the strength to breathe, to stand, to write down the final vision. But the war in the heavens did not stop when Daniel closed his scroll. That same invisible war is raging right now, and it is the exact reason you are so exhausted. You sit at a kitchen table under the harsh glare of an overhead light, staring at a stack of printed financial statements. The ink on the paper outlines the math of the rest of your life. You look at the 30-year mortgage. You look at the hidden costs of maintenance, the property taxes, the amortization schedules that quietly devour your labor while you sleep. You were told this was the promised land. You were told this was the American dream, the ultimate symbol of security and arrival, of iron and baked clay. It is a monument to human achievement, towering over the landscape. And then, a stone. But as you trace your finger over the numbers, it feels less like a kingdom and more like an exile. The beasts of your timeline do not always wear bronze armor or march across literal borders. Sometimes, the iron machine is an economic system designed to extract your life, hour by hour. Sometimes, the beast is the quiet, crushing weight of debt that dictates where you can live, what you can do, and how much you have to panic when an engine light comes on. You sign the document, you take the keys, and you suddenly realize you are serving a master you cannot even see. It feels like the dark water of the sea is rising right inside your own house. You are living in the phantom timeline. The phantom timeline is the quiet, suffocating illusion that the chaos is entirely unsupervised. It is the creeping suspicion that the Ancient of Days has abandoned the courtroom, that the corporate and financial beasts have broken their chains, and that your personal exhaustion is just collateral damage in a random, uncaring universe. Most people assume that if God is real, the math of their life should get easier. But Daniel's visions obliterate that assumption. The silence is not an empty room. It is an active battlefield, a stone cut out of a mountain, but not by human hands. It flies through the air and strikes the fragile feet of the statue. When you press your face into your hands at that kitchen table and the anxiety refuses to break, you are not alone in a void. You are existing in a reality so heavily contested that celestial princes draw swords over the literal geography of the earth. The forces of darkness do not fight because they are victorious. They fight because they know their expiration date has already been circled on the calendar. The invisible costs of your survival are heavy, but they are not the final calculation. Mood. The appointed time. The math of the 70 weeks proves that the timeline is not slipping through the fingers of the Most High. The stone has already been cut from the mountain. The Son of Man has already walked into the blazing courtroom. The decree has been issued, and the beasts are living on borrowed time. You are simply waiting for the final trumpet to sound, for the stone to finally strike the fragile clay feet of the systems that have held humanity hostage for millennia. But the most difficult question of the entire book is not how to decipher the timeline. It is what you are supposed to do with your life while you wait for the clock to hit zero. And an angel gives Daniel exactly one instruction. The impact is catastrophic. The gold, the silver, the bronze, the iron, the clay, it all shatters at once. An old man rolls up a leather scroll. His hands shake. The dark ink is dry, but the words are terrifying. The wind blows off the rushing water of the Tigris River, and the cold sand clings to the hem of his heavy linen robe. He has seen the beasts tearing flesh. He has seen the iron teeth. He has seen the horns multiplying in the dark. He has calculated the weeks. He has heard the final numbers, a time, times, and half a time. 1,290 days. 1,335 days. The math is swirling in his mind. precise but overwhelming. Daniel is exhausted. He looks at the celestial being, standing above the water, and asks one final, desperate question. "O my Lord, what shall be the outcome of these things?" You would expect the angel to give him a weapon. You would expect a tactical strategy. You would expect a mandate to build a bunker, to hoard supplies, to march on the Persian capital, or to start a violent revolution. But the angel does none of that. The final command of the book is not a battle cry. It is a dismissal. Daniel chapter 12, verse 13. The angel looks at the trembling prophet and says, "But go your way till the end, and you shall rest, and shall stand in your allotted place at the end of the days." Go your way. Rest. The empires will rise. The leopards will sprint, and the air in the royal chamber smells like myrrh and cold sweat. He is the most powerful man on the earth. The metals become like dust on a summer threshing floor, and the wind blows them away without leaving a single trace behind. The beasts will hunt. The iron machine will chew through the earth. The little horn will boast. The sanctuary will burn. The 70 weeks will tick down, day by agonizing day. The unseen princes will clash in the air above the borders of nations. The chaos is going to happen. But Daniel is told to go to sleep. He is commanded to step off the battlefield. He is told to let his aging body rest in the dust. He will not live to see the stone strike the clay feet of the statue. He will not live to see the Son of Man ride the clouds into the flaming courtroom. He will die in exile, serving foreign kings in a foreign land. But his death is not a defeat. It is a scheduled rest before the resurrection. The timeline does not need your anxiety to stay on schedule. The Ancient of Days is on the throne. The decree is signed. The math is fixed. The appointed time, the mood, is immovable. Daniel can close his eyes because the one who holds the clock never sleeps. But when you step back and look at the entire puzzle, the statue, the sea, the ram, the goat, the math, the 70 weeks, how do all these fractured visions actually pull together into one single, undeniable thread? A king dreams of a towering metal statue, and a stone not cut by human hands shatters the image of our glory. The visions are not spiritual metaphors. They are an autopsy of human empire. Daniel is handing the most powerful man in the world. 4 beasts rise from a dark and chaotic sea, and the Ancient of Days takes his seat in a courtroom of fire. A ram and a goat collide in the dust of history, and the violent collision is bound by an immovable, appointed time. A celestial prince fights in the invisible air for 21 days, and an angel breaks through the darkness with an answer. An exile calculates the 70 weeks on a fading scroll, and the timeline sets a specific date for a royal arrival. An anointed king is violently cut off exactly on schedule, and the bloody cross becomes the mathematical bullseye of the universe. An aging prophet asks what the chaotic end will be, and he is told to go to sleep because the clock is secure. Same pattern, same timeline, same God. But maybe the part that stays with me most is the title. Baranash, a son of humanity. The empires of the earth are built by predators. They are maintained by iron teeth, heavy bronze, and bloody claws. We assume that to defeat a beast, you have to become a bigger, more terrifying beast. But the one who walks into the flaming courtroom is not a monster. He is human, an expiration date for his kingdom. Babylon is the head of gold. Daniel tells him that directly. The one who inherits the earth is exactly what we were always meant to be before the sea took over. If you are in a season where the chaos feels entirely unsupervised, where the beasts of exhaustion and the quiet, crushing weight of your own phantom timeline feel like an exile you cannot escape, the Book of Daniel is a place to stand. The sea will churn. The horns will boast. The anxiety will tell you the math is out of control. But the timeline is not in their hands. The beast does not have the final word. And may the God who circled your appointed time before the foundation of the world give you the grace to rest in the middle of the empire, knowing the stone has already been thrown. But the silver, the bronze, the iron, that is a map of the next 500 years. Persia, Greece, Rome. It is a chronological blueprint of the empires that will rise, conquer, and ultimately be crushed by a kingdom from outside the human system. The image in Nebuchadnezzar's dream was just the introduction, a sanitized, metallic version of the future that a proud human king could understand. But the timeline does not stop there. Decades later, the Babylonian king is gone, and an aging Daniel has his own vision in the dark. The sanitized metal disappears. The metal turns to flesh, and the flesh is terrifying. We look at human history as a timeline of progress. We see architecture, we see law codes, we see philosophy, but the ancient prophets did not look at human empires and see civilized progress. They saw predators. He commands armies that turn stone walls into dust. But right now, his chest is heaving, and he cannot remember the phantom that just terrorized his mind. In the first year of Belshazzar, the perspective shifts. Daniel is not interpreting a king's dream. He is having his own. The metal statue is gone. The four winds of heaven are whipping the great sea into a dark, churning frenzy. In ancient literature, the sea is the realm of chaos. It is the abyss. It is the restless, violent mass of humanity. Out of that dark water, four beasts emerge. A lion with eagle's wings stands up and is given a human mind. A bear rises on one side, 3 ribs, dripping blood between its teeth. A leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads sprints across the earth. A 4th beast, nameless, unclassifiable, with teeth of iron and 10 horns, stomps and crushes whatever is left. These are not mythological fairy tales. They are historical realities. It is the exact same timeline Nebuchadnezzar saw in his statue. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome. But the veneer is stripped away. When a human king looks at his own empire, he sees polished gold and solid iron. He sees glory. When God looks at human empire, he sees mutated animals tearing flesh from bone. Babylon conquers. Persia expands. Greece sprints. Rome crushes. Alexander the Great moves like the winged leopard, conquering the known world in a decade, only for his empire to split into 4 heads, 4 generals, the moment he dies. The Roman machine arrives like the Iron Beast. A bureaucratic, he only knows that it means the end of everything. This is how the clock starts ticking. Terror that does not just defeat enemies, but obliterates their cultures. The pattern repeats. The military uniforms change. The languages shift. The borders move. But the mechanism of human empire is identical across the centuries. Power is taken by violence. It is maintained by fear. It is lost to a stronger beast. The bear eats the lion. The leopard outruns the bear. The monster tramples the leopard. The iron teeth chew through. Nations. The horns multiply. A little horn rises up, boasting, making war against the saints, speaking arrogant words against the Most High. The timeline feels completely out of control. The sea is deafening. The beasts are winning. It looks like the chaos will consume the earth entirely. But then, the camera cuts. The roar of the sea is suddenly muted. The violent thrashing stops. The perspective shifts from the dark water of earth to the blinding light of a cosmic courtroom. And someone is pulling out a chair. Thrones are set in place. The Ancient of Days takes his seat. The clothing is white as snow. The hair of his head is like pure wool. His throne is flaming with fire. Its wheels are entirely ablaze, and a river of deep, rolling fire streams out from before him. 10,000 times 10,000 stand in the light of the flames. The court is seated. The books are opened, not with a battle, not with an earthquake, with a forgotten nightmare in a silent bedroom. The beasts raged from the sea, but the Ancient of Days rules from the fire. The beasts conquered by tearing flesh, but the Ancient of Days conquers by opening a scroll. The beasts were chaotic, but the courtroom is absolute. Terrifying stillness. the fourth beast is slain, its body destroyed and given over to the burning fire. The roar of the iron machine is finally silenced. And then, Daniel sees the figure who will replace the beasts. He comes not from the dark water, but riding on the clouds of heaven, he is brought before the Ancient of Days. He is given dominion and glory and a kingdom that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away. But the detail that changes how you read the rest of your Bible is what Daniel calls him. Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. Daniel says, "I saw one like a son of man." The phrase in the original Aramaic, the language this specific section of the book is written in, is Bar-Anash. It literally translates to a son of humanity. A human being. The contrast is the entire point. The empires of the world are beasts. They are predatory, IDR, and mutated by their own hunger for power. But the one who finally inherits the earth is truly human. Most people assume the Book of Daniel is a collection of Sunday school survival stories. A lion's den, a fiery furnace. He is what humanity was supposed to be in Eden before the beasts took over. Fast forward 600 years. A rabbi from Nazareth is walking the dusty roads of Galilee. He heals the sick. He opens blind eyes. He eats with outcasts. And he refers to himself with a very specific, incredibly deliberate title. He does not frequently call himself the Son of God. He rarely calls himself the Messiah in public. He calls himself the Son of Man. He does it over 80 times in the Gospels. Most people assume he used that phrase to sound approachable, to show that he was relatable. Emble. Just a normal guy walking among the crowds. But if you look at the Aramaic text, the exact opposite is true. The title is not a statement of humility. It is a claim to absolute, cosmic authority. When Jesus says Son of Man, he is pointing directly at Daniel's vision in the night. He is saying, "I am the one riding the clouds. I am the one walking into the flaming courtroom. I am the one stepping over the ashes of your empires to take the throne." The identity of the true king is settled. The beast will not win. But a terrifying question remains. When? Because while Daniel is having these cosmic visions, his people are still bleeding in exile. A disembodied hand writing on a plaster wall, and they are that. But if you look closer, past the familiar flannel graphs, the temple in Jerusalem is still a pile of burned rubble. They do not just need to know who is coming, they need to know how long they have to survive before he arrives. And the answer comes in a math equation that most people skip right over. We like to think of prophecy as vague, poetic imagery. We expect shifting shadows and symbols. That can mean a dozen different things depending on how you squint at them. But when the angel Gabriel interrupts Daniel's evening prayers, he does not bring poetry. He brings a mathematical equation. Daniel is sitting with a scroll of Jeremiah, tracing his finger over the ink, calculating when the 70 years of Babylonian captivity will finally end. He is doing the math of a localized, temporary exile. Gabriel arrives to tell him that his math is far too small. The real timeline is not 70 years, but 77s. Daniel chapter 9, verse 24 through 26. Gabriel lays out a precise, measurable time frame for the arrival of the final king. And he says, "From the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The word your English Bible translates as Messiah is the Hebrew Mashiach. It appears 39 times in the Old Testament. You realize this book is something entirely different. Daniel is not a collection of moral fables. It is a mathematical and geopolitical countdown, and its root simply means to smear or to rub. In the ancient world, when a king or a high priest took office, they were not just handed a gold crown or a linen robe. They were physically smeared with heavy, fragrant oil. The oil was a tangible weight, meant to signify that the Spirit of God was resting upon them for a specific task. But Gabriel is doing something completely unprecedented here. He takes a common royal title and attaches it to a ticking clock. The Mashiach is not just a vague hope for a better future. It is a scheduled arrival. If seeing the original Hebrew is making these ancient texts feel alive for the first time, you're exactly who this channel is for. Drop a thought in the comments and hit subscribe. Because every week, we go deeper into the text than you knew was possible. So the angel gives Daniel the starting gun. The countdown begins with a legal decree to restore and rebuild the ruined walls of Jerusalem. From that moment, 69 sevens will pass until the Anointed One arrives. The Hebrew word for week here is Shavua, which simply means a unit of 7. Given the ancient Jewish context of sabbatical agricultural cycles, Gabriel is talking about years. The real question of this book isn't, how did a teenager survive the Babylonian exile? It's this: 69 sevens, 483 years. You can almost feel the weight of that number settling into the room. This is the only place in the entire Old Testament where a specific, calculable timeline is given for the arrival of the promised king. If you trace the historical records of the Persian Empire, the decree to rebuild Jerusalem's walls was issued by King Artaxerxes in the spring of 444 BC. If you calculate 483 prophetic years from that exact Persian decree, the timeline lands squarely in the 1st century. It lands in a very specific week. The week a rabbi from Nazareth rides a donkey down the Mount of Olives, while a crowd waves palm branches. But the math contains a devastating detail hidden right at the end of the calculation. A Persian king dips his reed pen. A bronze seal is pressed into hot wax. A messenger rides west toward the ruins of Jerusalem. The clock starts ticking. The wall goes up. The stones are heavy. Men build with a trowel in one hand and a sword in the other. The years burn away. The Persian bear is conquered by the Greek leopard. The leopard shatters into pieces. The Roman iron machine rolls in. Iron boots march through the temple courts. Latin replaces Greek. Roman eagles are mounted on the fortress walls. The oppression is suffocating.